Welcome to the video lesson for our fourth grade lesson. This lesson explores the history of language and writing. I'm going to read a story today written by Michael Dorr. Michael Dorr is a Montessorian who has adapted a really great story to help us explore the history of language and writing. I will make sure that I show a picture of the book at the end of this video for anyone that's interested in kind of exploring more of the book. But for now, my Polaris friends, here via my Kindle is Michael Dorr's story, The Ox in the House, a traditional Montessori concept adapted and written by Michael Dorr. There was once a young boy named Elim. Elim lived in a place called Phoenicia, in an area close to the Mediterranean Sea. This story takes place very long ago, thousands of years ago. Let's look real quick. Phoenicia is gonna be right here, all right, on the eastern part of the Mediterranean Sea near Cyprus. If you remember during our European studies, all right, Mediterranean Sea, here's the Black Sea up here, Mediterranean Sea down here, that's where Phoenicia was. Elim's father herded a large group of oxen, which are big, strong cattle. Of course, Elim himself wanted someday to herd oxen. He wanted to follow his father. Elim had been named Elim because it means wise one, and his parents had hoped that with that name he would become wise and strong and know so much that he would be all-knowing. We will be the judges as we listen to this story as to whether their great wishes came true. Elim lived in a house, really a hut, that in their language was called Beth. Beth meant hut or maybe house. In those days, they could draw a picture, also called Beth, which showed the house where they lived. Using a picture to show something was the only way that they could write. Beth. If Elim wanted to show his family that he had gone to his house and he was not there to tell them, he could just draw this picture, Beth, and they would know. Oh, Elim is in the house. He's gone to the house. He's taken the oxen back. He is in the Beth, the house. The picture or symbol meant house. One day, Elim left his house to go out with the oxen and take them to the grassy pasture. Now, the name for an ox in those days was an aleph. Aleph is the ox, and the symbol or pictograph of Aleph that they used was this, the ox. Elim was walking with the oxen when he realized something amazing. The name Elim and the word Aleph start with the same sound. Isn't that interesting, he thought to himself? I am something like an ox myself. I am strong, like an ox. We started with Beth, but now we are at Aleph, Elim. Elim, Aleph, I am Elim, Aleph, I am an ox. And Elim walked with strength and the power in his walk like an ox might walk, as he thought to himself how strong he was, how proud to be like an ox, so strong. Now Elim had a goad for the oxen. A goad is a pointed stick that he used to prod and move the oxen. Sometimes he used the goad to pull on the oxen or to poke them to make them go where he wanted. A goad helped to direct the oxen. The Phoenician word for goad was lamech. Lamech. With the goad, lamed, he was moving the oxen along, and this is the symbol that means goad. The ox goad or the ox stick that helps move the oxen. A limb was moving them along when he thought the lamed and a limb both share something. His name, a limb, and the goad, lamed, both had the old sound in them. A limb thought, well, in a way that works because a limb has the goad. A limb, lamed. That's interesting. Alim had never thought about sounds and words before. That words could have a sound or maybe more than one sound. Because in those days, each symbol always meant a complete word. Lamed was simply the goad, the thing that moved the ox along. This was something worth thinking about. As Alim walked with the oxen and his goad, he pointed forward to water, where he was taking the oxen and extended his arm to point. And he thought, that's interesting because the word for arm is yod. And his arm came forth and he thought again, yod, yod is like the sound in a limb. Yod in a limb, y. So Alim drew a picture in the sand that shows the symbol for arm, yod. This is the symbol that he drew. It means yod, arm. Alim said to himself, Alim, strong like ox, Aleph, powerful with the goad, Lamed, with his strong arm, Yod. As he said each sound, he acted out a bit, stomping like an ox when he said Aleph, swinging the goad when he said Lamed, and flexing his arm when he said Yod. These sounds are interesting and they are all about me. Lamed. Yod. Yod. Aleph. Lamed. Yod. Yod. At that moment, they arrived at the pool of water where the oxen were about to drink. Mem. Mem. The water is called Mem. This is the symbol for water, Mem. Alim thought, isn't that interesting? I hear the in my name too. At the end of Mem is a limb. He said it again, stretching out the last sound. Alim. Alim. Mem. Alim thought to himself, Alim, strong like ox, Aleph, powerful with the goad, Lamed. Strong arm, Yod, vital like water, Mem. Now, once again, as he said each sound, he acted out a bit, stomping like an ox when he said Aleph, swinging the goad once more when he said Lamed, flexing both arms as he said Yod, and making wave motions with his hands as he said Mem. Alim drew all four of these pictures. He drew the picture of an ox, the picture of the goad, Lamed, the picture of the arm reaching out, Yod, and the picture of the water, Mem. Then a most miraculous thing happened. Something that had never happened before. Something that changed human life for all time. Not just for Alim, but for all of us. For Alim suddenly thought that the first picture, Aleph, Lamed, Yod, and Mem, had four sounds. They were the four sounds that started each word. If Alim said the sounds, they could make his name Alim. Alim. My name is Alim. Before this, there was no symbol for Alim, but now Alim felt like he'd literally written a word. With four pictures, he could actually make his name. There's no single picture for Alim like there is for water, like there is for arm, like there is for the goad, like there is for the ox. By drawing these four pictures together, he could write a limb. So he wrote it over and over and over again. Then he scratched it into the rock where it still can be seen today. A limb. A limb. A limb. At the end of the day, Elim took his oxen back to the house, Beth. He was so excited that he drew the picture of her house as well, even though it didn't fit in his name, Beth. When Elim got to his house, he told his family the story of the ox, the goat, the arm, and the water, and he showed them his name and the symbol on the house. Elim even wrote his name on the house itself. Today, many, many years later, Elim is no longer alive, but we still do have the ox and the house, as well as the goat and the arm and the water. We actually have them right here. It's true, the ox, Aleph, and the house Beth have changed a lot over all these thousands of years. But finally, they were renamed by the Greeks as Alpha and Beta. Those two symbols, especially, have come down to us in a unique way because, put together, they made our word alphabet. The ox and the house became the beginning of our alphabet, the first two letters. This is the story of the ox and the house, how our alphabet came to be. So the story is told, and here it ends.